Congratulations. I tell you this all the time, but you are doing much better than you know. So stay focused. This video, I'm going to share with you some much needed information. We need perspective because we're living in a turbulent times. Right now, the prices of Bitcoin have shocked the world. People are waking up in fear. The fear is at an all-time high. And right now is more than ever, you need your platform partner to be here with you to give you a perspective of how we need to stay on the path so we can get the most out of this cryptocurrency bull run. And so we're going to talk about not just the crypto, but let's talk about what it's going to take to be fit living in the world that we're in that's full of turbulence, it's full of volatility, right? The volatility is a good thing because volatility stands for, it's like being vital. It means life. You want to be a part of things that are volatile because it's alive and you want to be a part of what's living. What's not living, the opposite of that is something that's dead. What's something that's dead? Paper money, paper currency, it's dead. It's not moving. If you just got cash due to inflation, it is like an ice cube melted in your hand. So you want to remember that you want to be volatility is alive. So you got to make a decision. Do you want to be a part of the growing organism? In fact, you know what? You don't got to make a decision. You've already made your decision. And that's why you're watching this video. We just need this perspective, and we need to know how to look at our portfolios. Also, what's the news that's going on? Are you allowing people to trick you out of your money? A lot of people have lost and continue to lose for the reasons I'm going to talk about today. But oh my God, how things change. So let's look at some of the news and how we can begin to capitalize. And then from there, at the end of this video, after we talk about a few things going on in the news, we're going to talk about stuff going on with Coinbase. We're going to talk about what's going on, some of the biggest news in crypto right now that is beginning to change the entire way people play. You want to be in tune with that. We're going to talk about that. I mean, what is considered the price of Bitcoin soaring? It's there. There's so many indicators that let us know that this trend of cryptocurrency is going nowhere, my friend. Even if they try to stop it, they cannot. They can only try to contain it, slow it down, push light regulations. But it's almost like the more that they try to stop it, they're hurting themselves. It's like trying to stop your own growth. And so that's what we're going to talk about. So just keep in mind, especially if you're living in America, America was doing amazing things because America was all about business. America at the time was ruling like being gangsters, war, right? They would take and rule with guns and military force. But right now, you have places like China and all across the world that are all about business, because in a world where we're not operating just off of physical, and now the new warfare is more so based off thinking and strategy and then deploying technology to do your bidding for you. You have to be involved in that tech game. So if you're in crypto, you are in the right place. Do not forget that. Two, I want you, before we go into the news, don't forget right now the power of what you have, because the same way, understand this, the people in the future who are going to make the policies are people who have the bulk of the best crypto assets. And right now it's Bitcoin. As of today, there's so many indicators that showing it's Bitcoin. Could there be another coin in the future? It's definitely a possibility. But right now, we got to understand the power of Bitcoin and how with these it's inevitable that the price of Bitcoin, at least based on history, that it will only continue to grow over time, because every 4 years there's a halving. And if you look at those market cycles, every time a new amount of what happens with Bitcoin, there is a new amount that's issued out every 4 years, and every 4 years it gets smaller and smaller, and that shortage creates scarcity, and the price of Bitcoin continues to explode. All right, from over a $600 X during the first halving that happened around 2012 to doing over 60x during another after the second halving that was around 2016 to we looking at potentially, look at the numbers, it could be doing at least another 20x by 2024. So we're looking at Bitcoin potentially being priced at least $120,000 by 2024, just based off of the halving. Even if the price dips, the history shows that if you have that right now, I truly believe if you have it, you will be empowered. This is why those people in power are really doing everything they can to get as much as they can right now, which is what's going on. So let's look at this in the news. So first of all, keep in mind, Michael Saylor, which is the CEO. He's MicroStrategist. For those who don't know, this is Michael Saylor is a guy that probably is investing more money in Bitcoin than anybody else. This guy is all out crazy for it. I mean, he's like addicted to it. To the point where he just bought another $10 million worth of Bitcoin just last week. MicroStrategy, look him up. You don't know anything about him, but this dude is all sold out on it. And that's a big sign. I mean, these guys aren't thinking short term. Neither should you. You know, keep in mind this technology is way more powerful than we understand because it's still evolving. It's an experiment, but they know that it's inevitable that this type of technology is going to consume the entire planet, all asset classes, in the way we live our lives. So there you see that you got people like MicroStrategies is buying over $10 million, where most of you guys are selling if you're afraid, but not you, because I know the people that watch this, you know, you're savvy. You understand the long term. You're a long term thinker. You understand the power of your assets, and you know, instead of giving up your asset, you would rather leverage it off and get some cash and borrow and use your crypto as collateral instead of just selling your coins. Again, it's not financial advice, but look at what's going on, guys. The fear and greed index says that right now people are extremely afraid. The average person, I mean, we're seeing a slight recovery that's been happening today. We don't even know if it's a recovery for sure, because Bitcoin is not just stable, right? It takes a week or two to see a stable price of Bitcoin, primarily because it's leading the market. And so right now, most people are afraid, extreme fear. So guess what? When people are afraid, that's when you attack. That's when you capitalize. That's when at least the Python strikes. When they see that the ops, right, they see that their food is afraid, that's when they attack. So this is a interesting time for everyone. If you look at that extreme fear at a number 10, guys, I mean, you got people shook. When you start seeing people make all type of phone calls because they're just afraid. I wish I could show you this video on World Star Hip Hop. It's this guy, this white guy. Man, he is crying in tears. I mean, man, this dude could have potentially, he had an episode where, I mean, he sounded like he could have went on a rampage. He was so angry, but he was crying in tears. He was bawling, and he had like $25,000 worth of Bitcoin, but he had lost a lot more. But you know, you got people, you know, jumping off of roofs. But here's the thing. Let's look at some of the technical side. I know a lot of you don't necessarily love the technical, but check this. You just need to know a little bit, enough about the technical side, because right now you can have fundamentals, but you need to know a little bit about the technicals, because the technicals are how the savvy people who have bigger money, this is how they're taking advantage and trying to take your coins, right? And so because by you being emotional and not understanding that these patterns happen all the time, it's not just crypto, that wealthy, savvy investors, they make their money, they make their living off of knowing how to take money from other people by using your emotions against you. So this here is what you call they call this a whack off event. Whack off. I think his name is Wakehoff. We're gonna call him Whack Off for this video. So this Whack Off here, he recorded this was back like in the 1920s. This guy created this graph that was basically trying to teach people how to study the stock market and how money really works, how money really moves, and to see the manipulation when, you know, you get big. And so in this case here, the charts, this is exactly what happened with the crypto charts. This was the Bitcoin chart. It looked almost exactly like this. So I've seen videos of people pull this up and it showed this chart, and this is really showing through these different phases. Understand that crypto is a cycle, just like everything else in life. There's cycles and seasons when things happen. There, you know, just like there's a winter time when, you know, there's a bear season when you don't do nothing, no money's moving, there's not a lot of volatility, it's not a lot of life. Versus in their springtime when it's time to really start investing and accumulating. Well, he talks about these seasons here and these cycles exactly when people are afraid, and they looking at that greed index that I was just showing you. They understand when people are in euphoric. I mean, everybody happy, they feel good. I got my, look, they think I'm gonna take Dogecoin to the moon. We all gonna get rich. When people start saying we all gonna get rich, everybody's gonna win. When that talk, that's now you emotional. That's called euphoria. That's called you're living in a fantasy. Because with money, the money game, this is a war, and you have to have a loser. So people who win, they're taking that money from somebody else, right? When they're selling their Bitcoin, somebody is on the losing end of that. Understand that, okay? When they're manipulating, and usually, if you're not aware of this, you would have gotten afraid. So, you know, you probably would have sold your coins. So if you're a crypto rookie, I'm gonna tell you like this: like, look, this is not financial advice or decisions, but just keep in mind the big picture of what's going on. Do you want of how they're going to try to do so many things to manipulate you? All right, they're going to try to do so many distractions that'll come. We may see blackouts. We're going to see more information about China and places trying to ban these cryptos. But you can't see the reason why the average person will get very afraid, I believe, is because they don't understand the technology. Because when you really, that's why you want to understand what these coins are. A lot of people their minds haven't wrapped around really how cryptocurrency, it is encrypted technology that is going to change everything we do, even outside of finances. And that literally this technology, because so much of it is like open source, and it is, which means this basically, it's unstoppable. It is growing. And if you try to stop it, it's almost like saying, hey, you know what? I don't like iPhones. I don't like Android, so I'm not going to use iPhones. But you can say you're not going to use it, but it's unavoidable when that's all you see around you. And that's what cryptocurrency is. It's unavoidable, and it's here to stay. And so you either get with it or you don't. So understanding when you understand that all of this FUD and fear and stuff really doesn't matter in the long term. Now, of course, if you're trying to short term make as many profits, then that's different. I personally, I don't even really advise. I can't advise you for anything, but to me, it doesn't make sense to try to do a lot of short term moves and be selling and trading if you don't know what you're doing, because it's extremely risky when you'll make the same type of reward if you're just patient and hold on to the right bags over time. That has proven to be history. In fact, so it only makes sense. So here's somebody who understands that. This is the #1 hedge fund manager in the planet, Ray Dalio. So he says he owns some Bitcoin. Now, what's interesting about this is this guy, I've been following him. It's very smart, very intelligent guy. I watched a lot of videos. He's a billionaire. Again, #1 hedge fund on the planet. And he has been talking like negative about Bitcoin and crypto for years. He's always saying like there's no intrinsic value. But Ray Dalio, he just said himself, like, you know what? He had to admit, yeah, I got some Bitcoin. And so all of them have been getting it. And like I said, it's unavoidable. I don't care how stubborn you are. And, you know, if he realizes that, I mean, at what point are you going to realize that you need to have you some Bitcoin? Again, not financial advice, but this is beyond just crypto. Okay, this is beyond that. All right, this is for your security, you understanding your data, for your ability to move around. This is unavoidable, and you gotta get involved in the game. Start learning terms, learning about your freedom and your rights, learning how to protect yourself so you're not a victim, right? So I just wanted you to see that Ray Dalio is in full effect. So look at what these guys are doing. You got Ray Dalio here. You got Michael Saylor, who the guy already owns billions of dollars worth of crypto, and now they're just continuing to buy more and more and more, right? So, hey, I want to show you something real quick. I want to show you public companies that have Bitcoin. I'll show you that in a second. I'll show you that at the end of the video. But let's go to some next stuff going on in this news. Also in the news, so Illinois, they just created new legislation that's going to favor Bitcoin as a digital asset. Basically, they're making Bitcoin and crypto a whole nother asset class. They're making it official. That's what they're saying. All right, Illinois is going to be the third state in the United States to pass legislation that's going to favor Bitcoin with a new digital asset charter. All right, so it will have to be taxed different, will have to be viewed different. Question is, who regulates crypto? No one, right? No one regulates it. They're trying to figure out how to do it. But right now, so this is really a good step forward. That can, in the long term, help the price become more stable. But understand, it's going to be more fear in the game. They're going to try to scare you. They'll probably say stuff like, in order to buy crypto in a certain country, you have to be like have $1 million in order for you to trade, or to be illegal. You got to get some type of a license. They'll try to say that, but you can go around that, because of the technology. In fact, people will go around it. That's the thing. People will go around it. Like, once a slave has been set free, you can't let that put them back in a box. It's like getting a wild animal who's been in a cage in a zoo, and all of a sudden he gets a taste of freedom. Like, can you imagine? There's probably, animals that are being transported who grew up in a zoo. Imagine a tiger that grew up and he was born in the zoo. He was raised in the zoo. He's in the zoo every night of his life, and he's bored, and he's never seen the wild. But then they take him outside to transport him from one zoo that may be in a different state. And could you imagine if he gets to see outside riding past a bunch of grass? That lion is in there, he's going to start going crazy because his instincts will kick in. All right. And so that's what's happening right now, man. Our instincts are kicking in, and then we're like, oh my God, we don't need to be entrapped in this old system, because that old money is dead, old system's dead, old way of living is dead, and now our backs against the wall. Because what job are you going to work, guys? When most of the jobs are being replaced with robots. What, Uber? That'll be replaced. What jobs are you going to work? Come on, if you don't, only so much real estate, only so much land, prices of that start going through the roof. Most people won't even use that as an option because they don't know, they won't be able to get into real estate. They would be squeezed out. You have the government owning most of that stuff, seizing people's properties, right? Because they can't pay their bills. So check this out. So Illinois is taking its further steps toward crypto, and understand this, right? I'm in the Chicago area. This is where the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, as well as many different financial organizations that regulate the entire financial space. I mean, there's a company here in Chicago, forget the name of it, that's responsible for funding well over like 50% of the stock market, right? So Chicago, when you start seeing stuff like this in Illinois, that lets you know, they know that crypto's here to stay. They don't think that Bitcoin is going to zero, right? Also, Coinbase they're issuing out some new Coinbase dollars. Now, y'all research this. Somebody brought this to me that was legitimate. I don't know what the Coinbase dollar is, but I'm assuming it's a stable coin that's on Coinbase. And that they issue it out so people can go jump in and out of a stable coin. That's most likely what it is. But from what I understand, they're printing up new Coinbase dollars. So because they're creating that, what does that tell us? That tells us that we need to be armed, locked, and loaded and ready because they anticipate needing those dollars because they're anticipating more volatility, more people coming in, bringing that action. So all of the signs are there that this bull run is just in a phase where you had some correction. A lot of people got wiped out. We look at these prices here. We're still at like 1.7 on the trillion scale, which is 20% up. 20% up. The question is, how long are we going to stay at this price? Or are we going to continue to fall? I really believe that this is a great time. This is why research is key. So you find coins that you really like. Find categories and niches of coins that you really like. So for those who don't, so what's the niche? What do I mean? Like smart contracts. So the smart contract coins, which are going to be like Ethereum, which is the internet protocol. So that's going to be the #1 smart contract protocol. And most people are anticipating that Ethereum is going to replace Bitcoin and have a larger market cap than Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, if Bitcoin worth $1 trillion, how much would Ethereum market cap be? Right? If it was at, let's say Ethereum was at 1.5 trillion. I don't know. I got to do the math on how much one Ethereum would be if it's at 1.5 trillion. Do the math on that. But look at other smart contracts. I love Cardano, Polkadot. That's the smart contracts. Elron. Those are some great coins to be in my opinion. Not financial advice, but things that I look at. I think some powerful coins because they have utility. You got to use them. And the financial system, come on now. The financial system, people are going to be their own banks. All of that has changed. The world's largest bank is Coinbase right now. Coinbase, a digital company, international, all right? And that's centralized. And now you're seeing places like Uniswap, which is still, in my opinion, a great coin. And this is what's important too. So speaking of Uniswap, this is the decentralized exchange where you can now buy tokens without showing your ID. Now, if you're going on a decentralized exchange like Uniswap, you buy that Unicoin, that's a governance token. So the people who have the most of the Uniswap have the ability to vote on what happens within the protocol, within the Uniswap space. So remember, this is not about your race. Understand, you can do the same thing with a governance coin. The more governance coins you have, that's what determines your power and you dictate what happens within Uniswap. So take that same concept and that governance coin that gives you the power to govern. Just because you have these coins is automatically baked into the technology, regardless on who has the coins. It doesn't matter their country, their race, their age. If you have majority of the coins, you have the ability to influence the entire network. So this is why savvy big money wants to manipulate to take your Bitcoin away from you, as well as your other assets. Right now, Bitcoin and Ethereum are the main two. They're the main two. They want to take it away from you because they want to get as much as they can, because when they have it, then they can control you with it. There's only 21 million ever be made, and it's already been over 2 million that have been lost that will never be found again, and more will be lost over time. It's going to get more and more scarce. So remember, you can get this asset now, not just for you, but for your security, for your ability to have govern, okay, over what's happening in the world, but also for your children, because we're talking about technology that is laying down the rails for what's the standard of living over the next 100 years. This is another whole layer based on the internet. I'm not saying Bitcoin specifically, but I'm just saying cryptos. And it's looking like Bitcoin is going to play a very pivotal role within the cryptos, whether it's #1 or not. So with just understanding that, if you don't have it, something's wrong. You're out here butt naked, you and your family. Okay? You don't want to be out here like that. You got all you got. You can have millions of dollars and you'll be just like the emperor that was wearing no clothes. You thought you were looking good. Come to find out, you were naked. Everything was gone. So Goldman Sachs, here's the bigger news here. Goldman Sachs, which is #1 like investment firm, right now, they're just giving out, they're already saying right now that they believe that Ethereum, they're proving my point. They're saying Ethereum They believe it's going to outpace Bitcoin. It's going to overtake Bitcoin. This is the smart contract space. So it only makes sense to be in the future of banking. Here, let me do this. I didn't realize that my audio wasn't synced. So what I'll do is I'll just keep this in the camera. I'll get myself out. So Forbes, they just talked about this $1.3 trillion crypto price crash, right? That just happened. But they're saying they predict a high chance Ethereum is going to eclipse Bitcoin. Now, they know, like, look, we've been saying this. If you're really in deep in crypto, entrenched in it, you already know that's inevitable because Bitcoin doesn't do anything, right? It's just something that you have in hold to protect your buying power. But, you know, if you don't do anything with it, it can only grow so much. Remember, it's about volatility, or should I say being vital. It's about things that are moving, things that are going to be useful. When you're living in that digital age, it's about what's moving around because everything is automated. So you got to be a part of the automation and what's moving around. And that's what Ethereum and coins like Ethereum begin to come into place within that automated world. All right. Not just a world where you're just holding on to something. So let's stay in tune with that. And what I'll do is I've been talking for a while. I know this video is going super long, but I want to remind you, support the channel, like the video. I want you to also understand, subscribe to the page. That's how we grow this channel. But also support that Cash App. Support so we can really grow. I want to bring some people on and I want to really build this community, right? It would not, I can invest all my money on, you know, as well. But this is a community site. This is not about just me. If you really like this content, contribute to the channel so we can really grow the platform. These videos are not going to be just me up here talking. We're going to be bringing in other people for interviews. We're going to be doing some amazing content. We want to make this the channel for you to just really going to help you grow and be there for you, be that mentor for you, to give you all of the game that you're going to need, not just the money, but also with just how you move around in your life, because this is the game of being disciplined. Crypto will expose you and show you who you are. You'll look yourself in the mirror. Okay. So, and you'll realize all of your weaknesses. You'll realize your addictions. It's going to look at you right in the face. And you got to, that's investments, period. Investing, period. Because now you're going to begin with crypto more so because it moves so quickly. You'll be able to see, you have to make decisions of your portfolio. And it's going to really test your character where you're going to have to, you know, reevaluate, you know what I'm saying? What you're doing, why you're doing it, with your game plan, and, you know, and almost having a level of detachment, which is very difficult to do when you're dealing with money, which is so emotional. But with that, we want to help you. We will help you. Donate to the channel. I don't even want to say donate. It's not about donate. Let's just continue to circulate. Let's circulate the money. Let's stay circulating on the channel. We appreciate you. And I'll see you on the next video here, Hustle Headquarters. I really appreciate y'all, man. Let's take this thing to a whole nother level. Let me know what other things y'all would like to see on the channel in terms of reviews, information outside of just crypto.